This is where I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, right? Because people go, oh, they don't do business to consumer anymore. It's business to business.
Yeah.
I'm like, but money come from where?
See, that's the fun part.
At some point, there has to be money that...
No?
At some point, I'm like, people have to use the product, like want to use it. No?
This is going to show up in our economy somehow soon.
Steve? Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
We've gotten that out of the way.
Did it right.
So in the past, we've had a topic, is AMD actually screwed? This time I have a slightly different topic, and it's called, are we all fucked?
How long do you want to make this video?
We've been talking about AI and like, is AI a grift? And about gaming industry sort of, where do you see the potential technology slowdowns, and does NVIDIA and do AMD maybe pivot to sell into this new market they've materialized out of night because they're running out of headroom on the gaming side? Am I the crazy one? Because I got a lot of theories.
Yes, the more I look into it, the more I feel like I'm taking crazy pills.
Okay.
Because it's very hard to understand what's going on right now, why it's happening, and how we got here. And I certainly don't have any answers for you on that one.
Right. You're not the answers guy?
I'd like to be.
Can we get the answers guy as the closest person we can get to Jensen here?
Whoa.
Sorry.
You didn't try.
I didn't mean
anyway.
it that way. Yes, you're right. What do you think it is? Like, does it come back to VRAM? Before that, this video is brought to you by Thermal Grizzly and their new Duronaut Thermal Paste. Thermal Grizzly claims its Duronaut paste is intended for long-term stability and endurance, focusing on paste longevity in addition to the usual performance focus. Thermal Grizzly's Duronaut paste comes with applicators and spreaders, and ships in numerous tube sizes, aiming to provide a high-end paste for PC builds and daily driven overclocks by enthusiasts. Learn more at the link in the description below.
I can certainly make that connection. We can bring it back to VRAM.
All right.
I actually don't know where to start with this conversation, so... Because I've watched all of your content talking about this, I've done my own research. Yeah. The deeper you dig the hole, the AI hole, the less sense it makes.
Let's start with maybe like quick recap of some of your content, your numbers to set the stage, right? Because you've been looking at from the gaming side and the GPU reviews side. So set it up here.
Again, I tried to understand this whole AI, which is really LLMs, large language models, and what they're doing there, what the demand really is, is it real? Can't work that out. And then I got thinking, like, why has NVIDIA done this? And again, it comes back to, I'm a GPU reviewer or a tech reviewer, so I historically just tested GPUs. So my insights into all of this server-side stuff and AI data centers, all that, probably not the leading person on any of that.
Sure, me neither. Yeah.
So got thinking about why they've gone. Let's call it the pivot. They've changed directions because. Again, it's really confusing when you think about it. Gaming, in my opinion, PC gaming, it's a growing industry. Yeah. It has been growing pretty healthily for year on year, many years now. Multi-billion-dollar industry. They can, I don't want to use the word make more money, but they're somehow generating.
Don't give them any ideas. They probably already had that particular idea.
Yeah.
But
so anyway, was thinking about it, and the more I sort of thought about it, researched the stuff that we'd covered over the years, it sort of seemed like this kind of pivot would possibly be inevitable. So, I'm sure you've talked about in your channel a lot with when we review new generation hardware, and it is, let's say, underwhelming often. And the technical reasons for that, it's becoming harder and harder to like shrink things down and extract these additional performance improvements that we were once upon a time used to. And if we go back to say the 2005 to 2010 period of time, the performance gains, if you had waited 5 years, would be somewhere around 200%.
Yeah.
So that being the case, people, at least based on our feedback, 50% will encourage them to upgrade at sort of the same price point. And that's the other thing. We were seeing, the prices stay much the same to get that 200% increase because in NVIDIA's defense, wafer costs and all that remained pretty stagnant during that period.
Right.
And they were able to, increase the density of DRAM, which is another sort of brick wall they seem to have hit. And so they were able to tack on more VRAM, improve compute performance, give you a much better product. And then for the following 10 years, it was still like 150%. And then in the last 5 years, we've seen like a 50% performance gain at the same price point.
It slowed down a lot. And so I guess, the maybe question I have for you is, are you going in the direction of, is I'll use NVIDIA as the main example, but is NVIDIA looking at this going, we are at the point where we're now putting down the train tracks while we're on the train, like they're running out of
They're seeing
room.
the business model essentially die to the point where it's hugely profitable to what, the billions and billions of dollars they want to make each financial year.
Yeah.
It's very difficult. So if you go back to what I was talking about, the previous decades where it kind of took care of itself, right? If you have a product that's 50% better, it's not too hard to market. It's like, hey guys, boost your frames by 50%. You get, these new DirectX features, whatever. Product sells itself, easy done. You get to like the last 5 years and they're having to come up with things like frame generation to try and sell you on the product.
Ray tracing too is interesting to me because I feel like RT to me felt like more of a defensive play than a pure technology play. So there is technology there. Game developers, I guess you could argue, would benefit if you just snap your fingers and everything runs great, path traced.
Yep.
Then sure, easy, right?
Yeah.
But for NVIDIA, it also felt a little bit like if we can get, we might be running out of exciting room on rasterization. How do we create a thing to create larger jumps generationally? But I don't know if that's me connecting too much red string on the board, right?
I'm sure it's all part of it, but at the end of the day, they went from that to now to get sort of the gen on gen 50% gain that they were once able to obtain. You're talking about 3 generations now. But even worse than that, where the 50% gains that we speak of previously, that was a 12 to maybe 18 month window, whereas now 2 years is kind of the close window.
Yeah.
We're getting out to 3 years.
We did numbers on that, and it was they had shifted from 18 months to 24 months over the past couple generations, and now they're trending towards 30. So
if you go 30, and that's just a new generation, but it's like at the same cost, maybe a 30% or 20% improvement. We've seen worse than that. We've seen like no improvement. Then you have to wait an additional 3 years. So then gamers are looking at like at least a 6-year window before they would upgrade. So although the industry keeps expanding, it's not at the rate that can offset that huge cycle now. And that's what we're talking about now. So in 10 years from now, how long is it going to be before there's any sort of meaningful upgrade at a similar price point?
Right.
So I think being aware of all of that's part of why they've shifted in the way they have.
So is that they've shifted to target LLM performance because there's like infinite growth there right now, basically? Like, I mean, if you're going from 0,
Yeah, I mean, the price at which they can sell the same silicon for, they're just willing to pay more than what gamers are. So whether that's sustainable, I don't know. I'm not confident because, again, it doesn't really make sense. And all the things that you're hearing about them doing in the background and the stuff we're seeing, again, doesn't really make sense. If it's a healthy ecosystem that a company genuinely believes in, they wouldn't be doing those sort of moves.
Have you seen the 3D printed NVIDIA GPUs yet on the show floor?
No.
So some of the companies we work with went and bought 3D printed NVIDIA Founders Edition cards from Taobao for like $20. And when we were talking to them, we'll have this in our hardware news, but the reason was they can no longer get partner sampling from NVIDIA. So historically, companies like the case companies have been able to get some partner sampling for exhibition. Right, and then maybe return it when you're done or whatever. It might not even, it might just be mechanical. This time, some of them can't even get samples for that. And there's some kind of back channel stuff too, where like one of the guys who was doing the sampling had GPUs flowing through another company that were ending up in China, but they were export restricted, and I'm not sure how specific I can get on that, but it all comes back to the smuggling. But if you're a consumer hardware case cooling power company, and you can't even get 150 anything from NVIDIA to show in your case, that seems bad for consumers too, right? Like it's definitely bad. I mean, can you fix it? That's why I came here.
Can I fix it?
Yes, please fix it. Steve, we need you.
I would like to fix it.
I put the Hardware Unboxed logo up in the sky, the bat symbol.
I have like two 5090s at my disposal.
This is a start.
So that's more than none.
All right, okay, yeah. Between the two of us, we can double the 5090 supply in the market.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's it. That's really all I've
Have
got.
any of yours caught on fire yet?
No.
Mine neither.
No. I've tried.
Yeah, me too.
I've really tried.
That's true. We did burn one, but
Yeah, I've bent connectors quite aggressively
Yeah.
and all that, but it does happen. Daniel Owen had one of his.
I saw that
melt
headline,
recently, so
Yeah.
it's a thing that can happen.
yeah.
It's kind of like the ASRock motherboards burning up AM5 CPUs.
So how does this link back into the conspiracy? Is NVIDIA trying to melt the GPUs intentionally so that they can reduce the supply? That's what it is, right? And then that's because the VRAM is limited. So they're trying to get people to RMA the cards so they can harvest the VRAM on it to put it on data center solutions, and then
They're not replacing the cards. They're like, sorry,
right.
the connector
Yes.
melted. We're gonna harvest this now.
Yeah. So I mean, where does this go, right? Because on one hand, I guess if I were to play a devil's advocate argument for purely ignoring the AI, purely the upgrade cycle, if you're like, okay, but do you need to keep upgrading? You know, what gets eroded from that change, right? And I guess to maybe start it on one side, it's, well, if your hobby, like building PCs and gaming, brings some kind of happiness, right? Then you are spacing that out. So that maybe pushes to other hobbies, but
Yeah, in terms of consumerism, it's probably a good thing, right? Because if providing the hardware is relatively affordable, you build a computer and then, providing it doesn't die, or if it does die within warranty, hopefully get that replaced under warranty.
Yeah.
But there's no real incentive to upgrade, which is not really a gamer problem, but again, that's a massive NVIDIA problem.
yeah,
So, yeah, if we go back to a point where, you know, DDR5 pricing's fine, NAND flash pricing's fine, and you can buy a reasonable GPU at a reasonable price, then you just have to sort of be content with that. It's not going to be a situation where in 12 months' time, for the same money, you're going to be able to buy something that's 50% or better in terms of performance. So basically, let's just hypothetical, if the AI scam, grift, whatever we want to call it, if that hell ends in, say, the next 12 months, and if that did happen, I imagine DDR5 pricing will fall through the floor. It'll be probably one of the cheapest things you can purchase. But that aside, and we go back to more normal times, which we're not going back to normal times, just to be clear. Then that would be the situation where gamers can buy the hardware, but then you won't need to upgrade anytime soon. And then game development will kind of slow down and stay where it is now. And they'll just have to. They can't really do much, right?
Yeah.
I hear people with the VRAM argument, like they just need to be better. They need to get good at game development. Like they need to optimize better.
Right.
And while there's certainly games you can point to in instances where that's true, you're not going to get a game that looks significantly better than Forza Horizon 6 on an 8GB GPU. So you'll just get a game with different gameplay aspects.
To your point of if the AI grift ends within any amount of time, yes, it probably brings down DDR5 prices. Maybe companies need consumers again as customers and not just other companies.
You've got to make money from somewhere, right? And that's the other part of this whole thing. Like, this is where I feel like I'm taking crazy pills, right? Because people go, oh, they don't do business to consumer anymore. It's business to business.
Yeah.
I'm like, but money come from where?
See, that's the fun part.
At some point, there has to be money that.
No?
Maybe not.
Why?
I don't know.
Why does there have to be money?
So far, that's true. So I'm not understanding. But
see, the fundamental flaw in your logic is you're thinking like a person who isn't in control of a $5 trillion company.
Yeah,
we got to put ourselves in that mindset.
At some point, I'm like, people have to use the product, like want to use it. No, I'm doing this wrong again.
Yeah, no, it's more. I think it's more that they just have to use the stock, as long as there's stock money.
Yeah. So again, I don't understand how any of it works.
I don't know. I think, but if DDR5 prices crash because there's a death of the AI grift, then it also seems like there would be and NVIDIA has a sign on the Taipei World Trade Center that says "It all starts here." And there's a really tiny parenthetical there that they don't define, and it's parentheses next global financial crisis, end parentheses, credit to Ed Zitron, all starts here.
Yes.
And you know, so if the memory prices come down, it's like, great, but if we're in a great recession situation or a 2008 or whatever,
oh, it's gonna be bad.
yeah, like it's okay. So you can buy RAM or you can buy gas, I guess. But
yeah, there's no easy way out of this disaster.
yeah,
It's just, I guess you need to take the pain to get anywhere with it. But yeah, when we get through that nightmare, and hopefully we do.
I like your use of when. You've taken it away with the hopefully though. Okay, so when we get through the nightmare,
it's not going to be like it was. It never will be. Like I think some people think, if it wasn't for AI, we'd be seeing new, faster GPUs every, let's say, 24 months. But I just don't think we're going back to that at all. And then we're not going back to a situation where they're affordable, because the wafer costs of, I think it's like 400% they've skyrocketed since like 2019 or something like that. And that trend's only continuing. Obviously, if TSMC had more competition, which maybe Intel can eventually bring to the table, I don't know, that would help a little bit. But there are like physics limitations of what they can do here. It's getting more and more difficult. So, we started in easy mode.
I almost wonder if you go back to SLI at some point where it's like, how do we sell more GPUs? But they would only do that if they, if they relied on the gaming market. So
there are certainly things they could do. How well they work, I don't know. But again, as I said, that's sort of an NVIDIA problem they've been well aware of, and that's how we've ended up where we have.
I had someone who's on the NVIDIA side mention to me that they're aware that the GPU VRAM prices are challenging for consumers. System memory prices are challenging. NVIDIA's doing everything they can to help. And I could not help but to respond with, the call is coming from inside of the house. Because you can't be like, oh, we're gonna help you, poor gamers, and also then go buy all of the memory supply and sell it to someone else.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's like a lack of awareness or if it's a willful.
Well, they just say whatever, right?
Yeah.
Like they're going to constantly say, no, we're for gamers first. And, they're just going to say the stuff that we've been seeing them say. They're going to.
I got to show you the most beautiful part, which is video games. It's also the closest to our heart.
Say whatever they have to say to, and I don't even know, I guess they're doing less of that, right? They used to sort of panic and be like, no, we care about gamers. And now they're sort of like, yeah, we care about gamers. Like, they're getting less enthusiastic about it the further they get away from it.
So who takes, it seems, if there's $16 billion a year in market for just NVIDIA for gaming, does someone take that? Like, if they back off, do you think they back off enough where some of that disappears, or do they kind of keep that stranglehold on it no matter what?
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that question.
Are you not on NVIDIA's board?
Yeah, I'm not privy to that information, but there is, like I said at the start, and you just acknowledge, there's a huge market there's a huge market with huge market demand, and it is getting more difficult to address that. So it's not like someone can come in and the challenges I just spoke of disappear for them, and they can be like, hey guys, we're going to make GPUs cheap again. They're going to get X amount faster every generation. The cycle's not going to like somehow start from scratch with a new manufacturer.
I think the best you get is someone comes in with something affordable, and maybe you bring down, like if you can drag down the 5090, 5080 tiers to a lower price point, that's probably the best you get. Like, I don't think you get the performance jump.
I mean, they're massive pieces of silicon. We're not seeing a situation again like we saw 10 years ago, where as yields improve, the silicon becomes much cheaper, and they can keep like a product like an RX 580 around forever at dirt cheap.
Right.
So I don't know when we can get to the point where like 590 performance is cheap.
Yeah.
So it'd be a big lag time on the advanced nodes they're creating now. But again, they would have to get cheaper. And if they just remain very difficult and complex to produce and therefore expensive, then you don't get that trickle-down effect, which is why I think there are sort of alarm bells going off for your entry-level and mid-range GPUs, where we might see this period of stagnation where the amount of wafer that they allocate to those products has to be so small. So to make it cost effective to create what we see with the 5090 now, you've got to use a small piece of silicon, I don't know, 15 years into the future.
Yeah,
I'm not sure what it would be.
I was wrong on the timing for this, but years ago, I think I shared this in a video somewhere, but I just had kind of like off the cuff prediction of, I think it's possible that NVIDIA takes, NVIDIA stalls a generation for consumers and splits, like consumers stay on past gen, you know, and everyone else is on Gen Plus 1. And the thinking was, well, maybe it makes sense for them to sell prior generation solutions at a slightly lower price.
So like bring back the RTX 3060.
Yes, which is where I was going with it. Because, and that's where like in that 30 and 20 era when the 30 series cards were somewhat difficult to get, I was thinking like they might bring back the 2060 just to supplement, which obviously they didn't really do.
Yeah, it's not super usable now. I mean, even the 3060 is questionable.
Yeah,
But yeah, it creates that huge lag period. But again, none of that solves the problem that you can't then progress from there. So you'd still be looking at 5 years to go from a 3060 to the next thing that makes financial sense.
Right.
Like, so, and again, if you look at the last 10 years, the way we've made the gains is so like the percentage gained, say every second generation, it's sort of doing that on the graph, like at the same price.
Yeah.
And then die size and power usage are doing that. And that's how, they've already been, really the RTX generations, when they introduced that with the RTX 20 series, we're brute forcing now.
Yeah.
So that was the start of the brute force.
What do you make of the 5800 X3D coming back at $350?
It's something that's been heavily requested.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not wrapped with the price, but also people were paying over $400 US secondhand for them.
Right.
So it's hard to really hammer AMD and say, you know, this is a disgusting price grab or whatever type price, when people, like, they're entering a market where they are doing people a favor. Because people were paying $400. And as ridiculous as that sounds, how much is, you know, a 32 gigabyte kit of DDR5 memory now? It's still
a lot, hundreds of dollars.
Yeah,
and I was, the only thing that really concerned me on their side was it feels borderline predatory. So it's like it's either doing you a favor or it's you're stranded on AM4 because DDR5 is too expensive.
Yeah.
We're going to capitalize on that and pull in $350 on something we paid off years ago.
I think all of those things are true at the same time. Because people have said, I've heard the arguments that they've had to like redevelop it, re-engineer it, because the technology they were previously using is no longer available at TSMC. So there was like, that maybe that's one of the reasons why they didn't bring it back so quickly when everyone was asking for it. So it had to be like re-engineered to spin up.
I didn't hear that
again.
because they do not talk to me.
Yeah, well, I haven't heard that directly from them. I heard a report where, the actual way they connect everything, not possible anymore. So they had to re-engineer that to make it possible. Whether or not that's true, that's just a story that someone from AMD said. It's plausible for sure, and it explains why they didn't bring back an in-demand product that they could certainly sell for good money.
Where do you think this all kind of goes from where we are right now?
Oh, God.
Is that existential enough? Do you need me to make it more existential?
Because I can't understand the situation we're currently in, that's a difficult question to answer. To me, I feel like we're going to run into a future where people realize that AI, these large language models, don't do... Like, you go back 12 months, all the promises that were made that we'd be seeing by now. I don't know what of those promises has come true, yet everyone's still just going stupid for it. So I feel like it's already been proven that it doesn't do what it was claimed to do. And I'm not like an anti-AI person myself. Like I find, and this may offend you or some people, like I find some of the LLMs very useful for certain tasks. Like I would characterize it as a useful tool. I've been accused of that myself by certain members of the audience. Or maybe a useless, no, it was a useless tool, never mind, that's a different thing.
I mean, I think it's if the most successful use case I had early models of GPT, when I was trying it out, was sometimes translation. It's gotten kind of stupider with that over the years. I don't know if it's just eating itself at this point, like Ouroboros. But early on, because for me, I can understand spoken Chinese, I can't read it. And so it was actually really useful sometimes for that. More so than Google Translate, because Translate is like a literal tool, right? And GPT, at least then, would try to provide some colloquial context. So you might have phrases that don't literally translate, and it was useful there. But then it got a lot worse, and I haven't used it.
So I'm willing to accept that it's a useful tool.
Right,
it can be good for stuff like that. That doesn't really justify the investment, though, and it also doesn't live up to the hype. Like, it's like ray tracing or anything. Like Jensen says a thing that's going to happen, therefore invest in product because of promise, and then it turns out, it didn't really pan out the way they'd promised. That just seems like a more extreme version of that, like, curing all diseases, all the things that were claimed, and it's like...
Sam Altman said he could, he presented the options: cure cancer or provide free education to everybody on Earth.
Okay, which one of those has it done?
Well, for just $10 per month.
Right, well, that's kind of free. Compared to a 50/90, I'll count it.
Well, so if you're actively not paying for it, you're choosing to not provide free education to everyone on Earth.
Right.
Have you thought about that?
Now I feel guilty.
Yeah, me too.
I'm going to go pay for it instantly.
Do you hate elevators?
I also hate elevators. I hate the concept of elevators.
When they're slow, yes.
Okay, all right.
If they're on time, I'm quite a fan.
We do have something in common with Jensen.
I don't like scaling the outside of the skyscraper. That's less fun.
Yeah, no, that's how I got here. That's why I'm sweating so much.
It hasn't really done, again, the crazy pill thing, it hasn't done what it's supposed to have done by this point. So we just have to throw more money at it to do more of the same thing, and then it will work. I don't really know.
At this point, it feels like it's like they've told a small lie about taking cookies out of the cookie jar, and now it's just cascaded. It's like, we got to keep this going.
I don't even really understand what all these additional data centers are for. That's to train the model to make it smarter, even though we've sort of fed it everything at this point already.
Right.
And now we're training it on screened AI data. So but we need way more data centers to do that more, I guess, because it's not really addressing a demand thing, because the demand's not really there, because again, while it's a useful tool, how much you want to pay for that and how much you want to use it.
Yeah.
So I don't understand. This is the best way to put that.
Last question.
I am confused, Steve. I need clarification.
I also need clarification. We'll throw this one in as a reference to past years. Is AMD actually screwed?
Very good. We've come full circle from last year. I actually watched our segment last year so I could see what we said.
What did we say?
Well, basically we were talking about how they didn't screw the price up. And I think while people have been critical of AMD and the MSRP, $600 for the 9070 XT, while they haven't always got there and it's been a struggle, it's 40% more to get a 5070 Ti. And in my opinion, that isn't worth the premium. I could probably make an argument for 20%.
Yeah.
40% is too much. And I think because 5070 Ti is 30-something% over MSRP, the 9070 XT is 15% over. So depending on how you want to look at this, I think from a consumer point of view, currently they're not. I think if I was
because they don't need you.
Well, but also if you were to build a system now and you wanted a relatively high-end GPU, I know you're going to buy a 5070 instead of a 9070 XT. I probably wouldn't.
Yeah.
So the GRE is kind of like a classic AMD move in the sense that they could have made that much more appealing, but they made it usually they do the whole, we'll make it $50 less than Nvidia because that makes no sense and you wouldn't buy it, so we're going to do that.
Yes.
And now they're our best value offering right now is the RX 9070.
You can't disrupt the family business.
Well, perhaps that would explain a lot of what's gone on over the years. Not sure on that one. But are they screwed? Probably not as much as we are, would be the answer to that one. That's the answer I'll give you.
So looping it back to the beginning, the answer is yes.
Yes.
We are all screwed.
Yes, yes, and yes.
Yeah, okay. Well, that was that was our discussion for this one. We're even being joined by what did you call it last year? The overhead right now.
I forget. We had all this additional time to make progress on that, and
still don't know the name of those things. Yeah. Well. Yeah. Anyway, check out Hardware Unboxed on YouTube, and thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Back to you, Steve.